guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm showing you how to make a 360 lace frontal wig from start to finish. So shout out to Rosabeauty on AliEpxress. They were nice enough to sponsor this video. They sent me their 360 lace frontal as well as 3 bundles of their body wave texture. And I have the lengths. I think my 360 frontal was a 12-inch and my bundles were 16, 18, and 20 inches. So just jump right into the frontal. I was really impressed by the quality of this 360 frontal. Although it is my first time working with 360 frontals, I could tell that this one was really well constructed. The lace was not like hard or gritty or anything like that. The hair was a nice luster. The hair from the frontal actually really matched the hair from the bundles, which, you know, sometimes they don't always get that right. But the inside, the construction was really nice as well. It was some reinforcement in the back, which I really appreciated because the frontal did fit a little big on me when I tried it on right outside the box. But the tabs in the back make it a lot easier for you to adjust the frontal and make it tight without having to, you know, like cut the frontal or anything like that. So the purpose of a 360 lace frontal is, you know, for people who like to wear their hair up in a bun, or if you want to wear a ponytail with your wig without your hair looking, you know, fake, I guess. So these are the bundles. They were also, you know, very nice luster, very bouncy hair, and the hair did not have a smell when it came out, so that was a plus as well. So here is just my wig block. I definitely highly recommend these if you guys are making your own wigs. And I ordered mine from Amazon. You want to just measure your head and, yeah, place an order because, trust me, it makes your life a whole lot easier and it helps to make the wig fit a lot more securely. So just so you guys can see the hairline and the parting a little bit more with this frontal, you can see that the knots are not bleached. And although the edges, I guess you could call them, were really realistic, you know, they were very nice. The baby hairs are nice and wispy, but I still would need to go in a little bit and customize this frontal a little bit. So in addition to bleaching the knots, I am going to pluck, but I have a video on that as well, so I will link that in the description box. And as you guys can see, the baby hair were nice and wispy on this unit, although you probably would need to cut them down a little bit. So now I'm just gonna make a nice loose French braid or cornrow going around the frontal just to kind of get the hair out of the way and start prepping for making this wig. So my braid just went all the way around the frontal and I'm just gonna pin it to get it out of the way. Now I'm going to take my cap. This is the mesh spandex dome cap. It's stretchy. I like that it's breathable. It gives room. It's easy to scratch your braids under your wigs. So this is my favorite go-to cap, especially when I'm sewing. So once that's fit down snug on the mannequin head that you're using to sew this wig down to, you're just going to go ahead and apply the frontal down as well. Now when you put your frontal down, we're positioning it so that way we can sew it down to our cap. So you want to have about a ½ inch from the, well, between the edge of the cap and the hairline of your frontal. And this is just going to help that frontal lay down so much more secure, and just make sure you have enough room so that it's not pulling at your forehead. So now I'm just going to go ahead and pin down my frontal so it doesn't go anywhere, and I'm going to start sewing. This is a curved needle that I got from my beauty supply store. It is made specifically for sewing in weaves, hence the curviness of the needle. And I'm also using nylon thread. I like this thread because it does not snap easily, and it's a little bit less thick than the standard thread that they normally give you, like the 99-cent thread. And plus this roll was like maybe $5 and it lasts for a very long time. So if you have this type of thread in your beauty supply store, definitely pick it up if you're going to be making wigs. So I'm just going around and stitching the ends of the frontal down. I know some people are like, why don't you just cut off that extra lace? No, you want to sew that down because that's going to provide extra reinforcement when you sew down your bundles. And just make sure that your lace frontal is secure all the way around. And once you are done sewing down that lace, now you're going to go ahead and with your bundles. Starting with the longest bundle first, I am using 3 bundles like I mentioned earlier. So what I'm going to do is actually leave them double wefted. So if you can see, they're kind of doubled over. And I'm going to start sewing as close as possible to the bottom right hand corner of that frontal. And once that first stitch is nice and secure, you can go ahead and, well, what I like to do is just pin my tracks across the head in a straight line. That way I don't have to hold on to the track the whole entire time, and I can just kind of sew my little heart away. And it really, really is like a nice little hack that helps with sewing wigs, of course, because you don't want to poke a client in the head if you're doing a sew-in, right? So for this part, I started off sewing like in an underhand motion because I was trying to be really cautious of not sewing down to the fabric of my mannequin head or my wig form. But as you can see later on, I'm going to switch to sewing overhanded because that's just a lot more easier for me. Whichever way is easier for you to sew, you can just go ahead and sew, but you want to make sure that you get around your 2 tracks. So remember, the wefts are doubled. You want to get around those 2 tracks and then back up through the cap and the lace. You want to make sure you avoid the fabric on the canvas head because you don't want to sew your wig down to the canvas because that's going to create a whole headache when you're trying to remove it. And also, I do not sew through my wefts. I sew around them. So now once you get to the corner, as close as possible to where that hair starts on the frontal, you just want to sew it down nice and tight and then flip it over and do the same exact thing. Now I'm used to leaving about a ½ inch of space in the back of my wigs just because I don't like them to be too bulky in the back. That causes like tangling, and also because I'm not used to doubling my weft. So when I'm just sewing down single weft, I like to leave space to make sure that I have enough hair. But using a 360 lace frontal, you're more than likely gonna have enough hair even if you're doubling your wefts. So even if you wanted to go a little bit closer with the wefts and have them be a little bit closer to make it a little bit more full in the back as well, you could do that too. And again, I'm just going ahead and I'm sewing. I'm going to time lapse this because you guys, literally, I'm just doing the same exact thing back and forth all the way up until about a ½ inch from where the hair starts on my frontal at the top. I'm literally just doing the same thing, sewing around both the wefts and coming back up through the cap and just pulling nice and tight. And then once I get to the end, making sure I sew down that corner really, really well, and then flipping the weft over to continue sewing all the way up. Now I did get through about 2½ bundles for this wig, so I did have a considerable amount left of my 3rd bundle. So at the end, if you want to, if you choose to leave space in the back, you could always go back and fill it in if you have hair left over. And just making sure to avoid any bald spots because y'all know when the wind blows, you do not want to be caught out here with no bald spots in your wig. So try to sew as close as you can to the hairline of the frontal without going over the hairline. Also, when you're sewing in your tracks, you want to go longest to shortest. So longest being my 20-inch bundle is the one that I sewed in first, and then after that was my 18 and then my 16 inches, because that'll gradually give it a naturally layered look. So now, as you can see, towards the middle of the head, I start putting the tracks a little bit closer together. And like I said, you want to stop doubling the tracks once you get all the way up to about a ½ inch from the back of the 360 hairline. Now right here, what I'm doing is I'm just going in the same exact way as I was before, but instead of having the wefts doubled, they are now singled. So it's just one single weft going across right now. And I'm just going to finish up those last 3 rows. The reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want it to be too bulky at the top of the head. And then when the wind blows, you know, of course, you'll be able to see the line of demarcation between the frontal and, you know, where the frontal ends and where your wefts start. So once the wig is completely finished, it should look something like this. Nice and full in the back. And remember, this is about 2.5 bundles with the 360 frontal. So now I'm just taking out the braid, and we're going to go ahead and cut that excess cap off. And you guys can see, you cannot really, you know, tell the difference of where everything ends. So once I brush the hair back, you won't be able to see any bald spots. So now all this extra cap, we don't need it, so we're just going to cut it. And that's what the full wig looks like when it's done. Of course, you could add combs to the insides or straps, but this is just a basic way of showing you guys how to make the 360 frontal. So this is what everything looks like when it's done. As you can see, there's no cap under, and the hairline still looks a little dark under. So I'm going to now go and customize this frontal just by plucking and bleaching the knots on it to make it look a little bit more realistic. Like I said, I do have a video coming on that as well, so I will be linking that down in the description bar below where it says Open Me. Be sure to click that if you guys want to see the video on how I customize my frontals. And this is what the back looks like. In a ponytail and in a bun. So yeah, it was really easy. It took me maybe about an hour and a half to complete everything, customization included. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss another upload. Until my next video, bye.